Edward Snowden, when he's given his interview to The Guardian, has said that he can't allow the US government to destroy privacy, internet freedom and basic liberties, and his sole motive is to inform the public. Those are the words of Edward Snowden. What's your view of him and his motives?
Well, Edward Snowden is a hero who has informed the public about one of the most serious events of the decade, which is the creeping formulation of a mass surveillance state that has now co-opted the courts, corrupted the courts in the United States, made them secret, made them produce orders which violate US constitutional protections to nearly the entire population. And then if that wasn't enough, has embroiled the US high-tech companies like Google, Yahoo, Skype, Facebook, etc., to extend that surveillance all across the world. The amount of collections from the United States alone revealed to be more than 2.4 billion in the month of March alone. And that is something that I and John Perry Barlow and many other journalists and civil libertarians have been campaigning on for a long time. So it's very pleasing to see such clear and concrete proof presented to the public.
Well, we'll come on to the possible rights and wrongs of what he's done. Sorry, just 1 second. I'll come to you just a moment, John Perry Barlow. I just wanted one more question with Julian Assange before I do. Julian Assange is someone who's spent nearly a year holed up in an embassy. What would your advice be now to Edward Snowden? Go back to the US and face the music, or go into hiding?
Look, already we know that the United States government has raided Edward Snowden's relatives in Honolulu. He is in a very, very serious position because of, we can see the sort of rhetoric that has occurred against me and Bradley Manning back in 2010, 2011, has now been applied to Snowden. I have absolutely no doubt that a very serious and aggressive action will be directed against Mr. Snowden. What other countries need to do is line up to give support for him. Everyone should go to their local politicians and press and demand that they step forward and offer Mr. Snowden asylum in their country. And it will be really telling, actually, to see which countries genuinely protect human rights, genuinely protect the privacy of the public, genuinely protect asylum rights. Which countries will actually do that, or which countries are scared of the United States or are in bed with this surveillance complex like GCHQ is here in London, which entered into arrangement in 2010 to take this very information from the Prism project and use it themselves.
And so, John Perry Barlow, what would you say to those who say that you should never leak classified information and leaks like this compromise our security?
I think our security is vastly more compromised by the existence of secret laws and secret practices that are not being conducted with the consent of a democratic public. The whole point, I mean, America remains a set of ideas and principles. And if we can't stick to those principles and be the standard bearer for those ideas, then the whole notion of what we're defending here and what we're defending ourselves against is completely null and void. Our national security is a matter of principle. It's not a matter of being invaded by some enemy or another. We don't really have a credible enemy in the sense that we once did. And terrorism, such as it exists at all, is not sufficient justification for taking away the protections of our Constitution, nor is it sufficient justification for putting the entire world under a microscope. I mean, we are taking it upon ourselves to monitor the communications of the human race. And we don't have the right to do that, and I don't think anybody should have the right to do that.
Others, as you know, John Perry Barlow, would argue that they would be dismayed if the security services, both at the National Security Agency in the States and at GCHQ in the UK, weren't conducting this kind of surveillance. We've heard from the Foreign Secretary in the past hour stressing that nothing has been done outside of UK law, that there are proper checks and balances along the way. And President Obama himself has argued that you can't have 100% privacy and 100% security.
Well, we're talking about 0% privacy at this point. You know, there's
Are
not,
we? Are we
we're
talking
not
about 0%
about
privacy
being struck? Yeah, I mean, look, here's the problem. You know, personally, I actually do trust to some large extent the people who are running the NSA, many of whom I know, and I trust the underlying faith of the Obama administration to a greater extent than I think my colleague does, but the point is that they are acquiring capabilities that, in the wrong hands, become very powerful and have hugely fascistic characteristics, and they're also giving to ordinary individuals the ability to get right square in the middle of anybody's life. I mean, these abilities are not abilities that they should be giving themselves or conveying.
Okay, Julian Assange, we're running short of time, so if I can just ask one more question to you. Looking back, and your advice to any people, future potential whistleblowers, what would your advice be? I mean, would you say it was worth it? Looking at Bradley Manning, for example, facing 21 counts relating to the transmission of documents to WikiLeaks, what would your advice be to anyone in the future thinking of leaking information?
I can't say for Bradley Manning whether it was worth it. That is a matter for him. But according to alleged conversations that he has had, he said that he was willing to risk his future to bring that information to the public. Snowden as well. These are very serious, earnest young men who really believe in something and have shown great courage. And there is no doubt, actually, that history will look on them extremely favourably, and perhaps even in a few years will liberate them from their predicament. We see here in the United States something very different to what happened under Bush. Bush just ordered the vast collection of telephone records from various companies in the United States, like Verizon. What Obama has done, he has done it legally, but he has done that by making use of secret courts, corrupting those courts, introducing secret law, secret policy, and secret review. In other words, in order to get it down on paper, the Obama administration has corrupted the whole system, corrupted the whole judicial system. So this is not just a matter of there is now erected a vast transnational surveillance system. That's bad. But in order to erect that system and keep it secret, the oversight mechanisms and the judiciary have also been corrupted. So we will see here in this Snowden case, yes, the revelations, but then also the underpinnings of those revelations and the reaction to Snowden, how he is treated by the Obama administration, by other countries, how he is treated, how the journalist Laura Poitras is treated, how the journalist Glenn Greenwald is treated, will be very indicative of the state of play.
Okay, we appreciate your time. Julian Assange and John Perry Barlow, thank you for that. And